Hi, you all. Happy Monday. It's Mrs. Wilson. For Meaningful Monday, for your morning work, you're going to be looking at the word refused and try to figure out the meaning using context clues in the paragraph. Then below that, you're working on synonyms and antonyms. Remember, synonyms mean the same and antonyms mean the opposite. Then on the right, you are reading about the Wampanoag tribe, which are a Native American tribe. And you're going to be looking at the words contributed, three sisters, and natives. So you're going to drag and drop the color to the correct definition. So, for example, orange is for contributed. Whichever one of these definitions means contributed, you're going to drag this orange rectangle right here to the correct definition and set it on top. Okay? Then for math, for Multiplication Monday, you are reading this word problem. It already tells you that everything on here is going to be multiplication. The title is Multiplication Monday, so make sure you have the correct multiplication equation with the product or the answer. Then you're going to look at this array, and you're going to write the two multiplication problems that go for this array. So remember to look at your number of rows and to look at your number of columns. Then over here is true or false. One group of three, so think about what that product would be. 1 times 3 is greater than two groups of 4, 2 times 4. If you think that statement is true, you're going to write true. If you think that statement is false, you're going to write false. This week we are listening to the folk tale, The Girl Who Loved Wild Horses. This is a Native American folk tale, and this is an animated version of the book. So somebody took the illustrations from the book and animated them into kind of like a movie. And so I thought it was a more engaging way to listen to the story. However, if you like seeing the words, you can go to YouTube and type "The Girl Who Loved Wild Horses," and there are other videos you can watch for that book. After you've listened to the story, we're going to work on major events. So a major event is something that happens that impacts the plot or the important parts of the book. Not every event in a story is important. So it's really important that you know that minor events, less important events, don't impact a story. The major events do. So strong readers learn to distinguish between important and minor events. This allows them to focus their attention on what matters most. So off to the right here are 6 different events in the story. 3 of them are major events, and 3 of them are minor events. So you're going to read the event. Then, once you've decided whether it is a major or minor event, you are going to drag and drop it under the appropriate column. Okay? Remember, there are 3 each. So think to yourself, was this event really important? Did it impact the entire story? Or was it just something interesting to read? After you've done major events, you're going to focus on central message. So central message was something that last week when we talked about theme, some of you all had some questions about. So central message or theme is what the author wants you, the reader, to learn from the story and apply to your own life. So to help you figure out the central message, look closely at how the main character responds to major events. So what does the character do during these major events? So the storm, meeting the stallion, going home, and then being reunited with the horses. How does the girl respond? How does she act during all of those events? Then the last thing you're doing is determining the central message. So think about how the girl felt during the major events in the previous slide. What does the author want you to learn from this story? So if you had to think of one lesson, one central message, to take away from this story, what would that be? So you're going to type that underneath the first horse. How do you know? What happened in the story that made you think that was the central message? And then what did the characters learn? So you can focus on the main character. You can focus on her parents. You can focus on the village people. You can even focus on the horses because they're such important characters in this story as well. And in folk tales, a lot of times characters are, or animals are main characters. So you may have to listen to the story more than once in order to find a central message that speaks to you. And there's not just one answer, okay? Depending on how you interpret the story, you might have a different message that you're receiving than other people, and that's perfectly okay. All right, you all, I hope you enjoy this story and have a great Monday.